and welcome to Matchanomics, the podcast where we explore the world of Japanese tea. We are Toru and Megami. We both have finance as our background and currently care deeply about sustainability of the Japanese tea industry from an economic, environmental, and social angle. We're excited to share with you valuable insights on topics that matter to tea and matcha lovers around the world. So let's dive in and explore together. Toru, thanks for joining me. Today, we're excited to talk about Solar Matcha, a really innovative and sustainable approach to tea production. Before we dive into the topic, can you share some personal history with tea production? I see that your company has 160 years of history. What does your tea company do?
Thanks, Megami. Yes, Hamasa-en has a long history going back to 1865. We were actually among the first to export Japanese green tea to the US when Japan began opening its doors to the world. That foundation really shaped us and has set up a legacy that's been built on for 5 generations. Today, we are proud to continue that tradition, exporting to over 45 different countries while staying true to the authentic taste and quality of Japanese tea. Balancing tradition with new methods like Solar Matcha feels natural, allowing us to innovate while respecting what we got us here.
Wow, you really are shinise. For those who may not know, shinise refers to the long-established businesses in Japan that are built on legacy, tradition, and community trust, often running for over a century. Toru, with Hamasa-en's rich history, it's clear why sustainability matters to you so much. Now, today's topic, Solar Matcha. Toru, I know you've been involved in some early stages of this. Can you start by explaining how it works?
Absolutely, Megami. Solar Matcha involves placing solar panels over tea fields. The panels not only generate renewable energy, but also provide the tea plants with partial shade, which they actually thrive under. It's a pretty unique setup that combines farming with renewable energy production.
So interesting. In general term, it is called solar sharing, right?
Yes.
In Europe, solar sharing is advancing, especially in countries with policies and supporting agrivoltaics like France, Germany, and Netherlands. In the United States, certain states like California are beginning to experiment with similar concepts, driven by interest in sustainable energy and climate resilience in agriculture. In Japan, it is regulated under Agricultural Land Act, and I hear that some renewable energy companies collaborate with sustainable brands to roll out solar sharing for farming. I understand that the solar sharing is also great for farmers financially. They can sell the energy produced by these solar panels. Is that correct?
Exactly. Selling energy back to the grid creates a steady cash flow for farmers, which makes a huge difference, especially for smaller farmers. Rather than relying solely on seasonal income, they get this additional revenue from the solar panels. And it's also helping reduce some of the manual labor in tea farming as well. Typically, we use hifuku or shading covering the tea plants to enhance their quality. With solar panels, the shading comes built in. This control over shading is becoming even more critical with global warming, as direct sunlight can now be too intense for certain tea varieties. The solar panels provide the right balance of light, improving the flavor and quality of tea while cutting down on extra shading work.
Such an important point. And as we face more climate challenge effects, finding efficient ways to manage resources like sunlight becomes essential. Plus, using solar panels for shading instead of cloth covering or other materials sounds like a win for sustainability and labor savings. I found some stats on the growth of solar sharing for farming in Japan. According to a September 2024 report by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, the growth of solar sharing in Japan has been significant, increasing from about 100 cases in 2013 to over 4,300 by 2021.
Over 4,300 cases. Wow, that's impressive. But I thought there might be even more by now. Are there any challenges holding back this farming method from spreading even further?
We should explore more about this with some experts, but there seems to be some issues preventing solar sharing from spreading more widely. There are increasing cases where power generation is prioritized over farming, resulting in inadequate agricultural activities under the solar panels. If proper farming is not conducted on the land below, the farmland may deteriorate, undermining the core purpose of solar sharing, which is to harmonize both power generation and agriculture. This resulted in tighter regulation and new guidelines being enforced. Another issue seems to be length of permission is 3 to 10 years. It is hard to develop a concrete plan, so some stakeholders are asking for more like 20 years. There are also grid connectivity issues. Unfortunately, without a clear way forward, it is hard to attract risk money, so early resolution of these issues are needed to spread and expand the solar sharing for farming in Japan.
I also feel that while Solar Matcha is still new, only a few farmers are actively involved. I believe this model has huge potential. If more farmers adopt it, we could see a positive shift in the industry toward more stable and sustainable practices.
Absolutely. That stability can lead to more investments. I think it's up to us to help spread the awareness and attract interest, not just from farmers, but also from consumers and investors who care about where the teas are coming from and how it's made. It may attract capital in the impact finance, which makes a decision of deployment of capital and effectiveness of investment by not just risk and return, the traditional two factors of investment, but also social and environmental impact as the third factor. This type of financing is getting traction in Japan and globally. There are public and private consortiums to promote impact finance.
That's really interesting to hear about a new approach to finance. The future of tea is looking bright and sustainable. Thank you for today's discussion, Megami.
Thank you, Toru. I'm looking forward to seeing where Solar Matcha is going next, and I hope this conversation inspires others to explore it further. Hope you're enjoying the Matchanomics. Up next, we've got something special for you, a music tune called Matcha, an original track from the debut album of dynamic duo MOSAIC. Seiya Matsushita and Megami blend jazz with the essence of Japanese tradition, using the power of music to spread a message of environmental harmony and social awareness, reflecting the deep respect for balance and mindfulness that is central to Japanese culture, often embodied in the spirit of wa, or harmony. Now sit back, relax, and let yourself be carried away by the soothing sound of matcha. Enjoy.
青い空と光に包まれ君は笑う初めて見た日も美味しそうに抹茶アイス食べてたねそよ風遊ぶ茶畑丘を君はかける春風にスカートなびかせながら左振り向いた緑輝く淡い恋の歌優しさと落ち着きが自然の恵み差し込む夕日ぬくもり感じ二人歌うこれから始まる甘美なストーリー今心弾ませ
joining us on the second episode of Matchanomics. We hope today's episode gave you another perspective on the world of Japanese tea and sustainability. Whether you're sipping your matcha or exploring new ways to make a positive impact, we're grateful to have you on this journey with us. Don't forget, we'll be back with more insights and discussions a couple times a month. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, enjoy your tea and take care.